I am a man.
I am a man.
I am a man.
I am a man.
I'm a man. I am a man.
I'm a man.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to be, man. Like the person is like,
Yes. Feel this side. This side.
Technology. I wanted to say, guys, the economy is doing wonderful.
Wonderfully. Money is going to come.
My colleagues, money will come.
Yeah, it's coming for you. Summoning something. How are you going to receive this? Summoning something.
So what are we? Wait, let me find the Takura, let me find the
I don't like it. Yes, roll up the sleeve. Very good, very nice. You see, I give you technique. Let me present
Not
here.
talk about technique.
Hi, guys. I'm sure it's a pleasure for you to meet me. My name is Takura Johnson Gapu. I am a student at the University of the Witwatersrand, studying a Bachelor of Laws, and I am 20 years of age. Me personally, I know what it is when I see it. Giving a strict definition is something I am not necessarily able to do, but then for the sake of clarity, I can give certain frameworks. First things first, I would believe that the specific definition of a man would start with your sex, right? For the sake of like clarity, like, okay, this sex is this category, this sex is that category. But then moving beyond that, I'm not necessarily sure in the present day and age that we can necessarily make a difference between a man and a woman. Because if we're going to say things like a man is strong, a man is brave, a man is courageous, in times whereby men have fallen short, which we do a lot, sure, if you look at the current prevailing world, women have stood up and adopted those characteristics and even been inspiration to other men. So I don't necessarily set apart being a man as a framework to achieve, but then I'd rather set it apart as what makes a good human. And it would be those characteristics: being kind, being generous, being brave, protecting those that you care about. But then what then specifically categorizes you as a man would, in my opinion, be your sex. When it now comes to the specific characteristics of a man, you can find those in other women and other genders as well. So I feel like it would be a genuine injustice to then specifically crowd those out in the definition of a man, which is why I said I don't know, but I can give a framework of where it can start. How do I exercise manhood? I really don't think about that. Like, I just live life trying to be, well, saying the best version that I can sounds so cheesy. It's been said in so many places. Like, I honestly just try and be my ideal self, and with the characteristics that I've mentioned that I see as admirable, like trying to exercise manhood. In my opinion, that's like you flashing around like, "Oh, I'm a man." This, and I really don't need to be doing that. I didn't. It's not something I need to exercise, but rather it's something that I do naturally. Sometimes I may fall short of that standard, but then it's not something that I think I need to activate. It's like asking a bird, "Oh, how often do you fly?" Like, I'm just a man. I can't say that I had a formal orientation into what it means to be a man, in a sense. But I have had informal guidance in the form of my father. I think one thing that he reiterates a lot is that kufa kwemrume kubuda urwa. So then that's shona for the death of a man, right? Is when he's, how can I say, leaking pus. Y'all know that white stuff that comes with by hard days of work, now his skin's cracked, now that white pus is coming off. So then that would mainly be said in essence of working hard and pushing and striving through. That was one of the main orientations that I had in terms of manhood. And another one that I had in looking at men that were around me was a sort of performative pride that came from merely acquiring the identity of a man. But then one thing that would bother me a lot is that when push came to shove in challenging the morality of a certain person, when it came to their stance on what do you do if a woman disrespects you, now you're slapping them, or what do you do if someone says something you disagree with, now you're getting angry. So the same person who would elevate themselves to the status of a man saying that this is who I am would be the same person falling short and then using an excuse like every man has fallen short. So I guess I'm unlearning the contradiction of what it means to be a man. Because the same person who's like, I am a man, just be like at the end of the day, oh, I'm just a man. But which one is it? And I'm not trying to do this as a sort of high standard for people to achieve, but it's sort of something that I'm doing for myself in shaping my own manhood, if that's how we'd like to form it. So I'm mostly trying to put substance behind what it means to be a man and not necessarily rely on a title for people to know who I am and what I stand for. Which is why when it comes to topics like masculinity or topics like exercising my manhood, that's not how I see it at all. I see it as more so something as natural as breathing, and it's not something that I need to point out in order for you to see. A man would be someone whereby you can breathe easier when you're around him, you can feel safe and protected, but at the same time, you won't feel crowded out. And trying to form your identity around patchwork lessons that this is what a man does, this is what a man does, this is what a man doesn't do. You're sort of like trying to knit together different patches and form them into pants, but at the end of the day, it will still look like patchwork rather than something that's unified. So I guess the main thing that I'm unlearning is a performative pride, because there's nothing necessarily wrong with pride in itself, but without the substance to back it up and really having an entitlement of manhood, and most importantly, not being able to evolve and build off what it meant to be a man. Because you'd be like, oh yeah, you have to be a provider, you have to be a protector, but what's she gonna do when she has her own money, or he has her own money, or they want their own independence? What exactly is your manhood left with if the very world you relied on is in the past? So then that's just something that I'm trying to then relearn and actively learning in myself and forming my own manhood. But I would just say forming my own identity as Takura, because I'm more than just a man. Unlearning is a very weird term for me because there's not much that I did learn for mental health for a man in terms of the sense. Like, or maybe I did learn it, but then it was never plainly said. Because when it came to emotions, we basically just acted like they didn't necessarily exist. The only time I saw my father emotional was when we were at his mother's funeral. She passed away around 2009. So I never actually got to meet her. Or if I did, I don't actually remember her. But then visiting the graveyard, I just saw a tear streaming down his face, and I'm asking him, why are you crying? And he just patted my head, and I just moved on with life from there. And the only other times that I've seen men actually show emotions is when they're bubbling it inside so much, and then it just ends up bursting out into some ugly monster. And that's not really the best thing to see. in terms of the lessons that I am learning about mental health, is that it is okay to be in shit. Like, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to cry. And it's okay if you choose to express them openly, or if you prefer to express them alone in the console of someone else that you trust and know and you're vulnerable around. I'm not necessarily here to prescribe a certain emotion that this is how you should deal with your emotions, because it's not the same for everyone. We're all different people, uniquely trying to navigate how we understand ourselves. And even the people who think they understand themselves still have much more to learn when it actually comes to mental health. But then what I can say is that mental health is a state of being. And just like with ordinary human life, you can have periods whereby you are unhealthy, and that is okay. And it's not that you now need to rush to tell someone that you need to figure it out, you need to be okay, but sometimes it's just about sitting with them as they're in that process of learning how to get back to being healthy. Sometimes they can be more than healthy, they can be like the physically fit person and look like they've everything held together, and that is still okay. So when it comes to learning, I don't want it to come off as like manhood is something that you sit down and learn in a class and basically get this set orientation, because ultimately it's not a fixed box, but it's rather something that you diversify and have different opinions on, and then you shape and mold the based of what you believe is correct. Because ultimately what I believe is that as a man, at the end of the day, you're going to have to make your decision that this is what I believe is right and this is what I'm going to stand for, but then still having an open mind to hear other people's opinions and shape and form and be allowed to be influenced as you influence others. So I can't necessarily give you a certain prescription like, oh yeah, go to a therapist, which is okay, by the way. I'm not saying that's not okay, right? Or get your cry out, or go and eat junk food, or go punch a bag or something, because those are sort of, it's a lack of understanding in that, okay, you tell someone in the townships to go to the gym, but there is no gym in the township now, right? Or you tell them, oh, go see a therapist, but then the only therapists in the area are so expensive. But then someone can get that therapy from social media and having access to therapists with that online prescriptions. But then because of your outlook on the world, you're not able to give that advice to them. So then I'm more so someone who likes to give the understanding behind the advice so that you can then form your own footing. Because ultimately, even if this is to do well and so many people are to see it, I still wouldn't want people to sort of take after me, because the world has more than enough of Takuras, and we still need more opinions and prescriptions and advice to go around. So even if my advice is to blow up, I would still want other people to learn new ways of mental health, because there's more to manhood than we could ever imagine. Society, like, I don't know. I don't really think of that much, because now I'm like, which society are we talking about here? Like my immediate society around guys, or like the country in general, or the president is to blame? Like, people will be people. They're going to be annoying. They're going to say some things that you really don't agree with, and they're going to say some very questionable things. You'll be like, I don't think you really put that much thought into this. And my approach has been less in making an out, and I want to make this clear. The only reason why I'm saying this is because I have lived a life whereby I had to rely less on society, which is why I'm saying this. And that's something that you should understand. I'm not saying that you should now get an outlook and saying everything is my fault and I'm the one to blame him, I'm the one with the ultimate responsibility, because society does have a certain part to play in that in your immediate community. I'm just saying this from the perspective of someone who hasn't necessarily had too much communal influence and societal influence in how I shape and form myself, which is why I'm speaking from this perspective, which is something I'd like you to understand. And if you are someone who does have that, that is okay, but I'm probably not the best person to then give you advice on that, which comes back to my point on manhood before. We've had more than enough opinions from Takura. But then from an opinion of someone who doesn't look too much with the societal outset, I more so shape my style around being able to thrive in any society and shine as a light. I am a God-fearing man, believe in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I more so stand with the perspective of being the salt in the world rather than having the world shape and form me. I am here to shape and form the world and influence the world and stand out as an exception amongst people who self-proclaim themselves as exceptional or special. That is my role, and that's the life that I chose. Of course, it's going to have its disadvantages in being like, I can't necessarily over rely on societal benefits and societal handings and having that sense of community to be like, Chief, you don't have to go too much, because ultimately I'm the one who has to continually uphold and find that standard and push it to what is actually unreasonable, because that's the whole point in being the salt. You're influencing people to the point whereby their standard norm seems like, what can I say, subpar, substandard, I guess, in a sense. So I'm not able to really comment much on that because that's not the kind of world I'm living in. If I had to give like a template for what I do, I guess first things first is I acknowledge that I am not okay. And I just do what I think will make me more okay while also avoiding things that will ultimately harm my health. So I eat chocolate, I sleep, I watch a show, I do push ups sometimes, hopefully. Is it showing? No? Okay. Um, I pray, I worship, and I go back to the very thing that made me feel that way in the first place. Because ultimately, in as much as we can say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, it can come back and finish the job. So it's best that you confront it head on without fear and courage, with your hands shaking, tears streaming down your face, and you keep on moving forward, because that is okay too. And if you don't really feel like it, that's fine. We, as I can't speak for everyone, but if you are in my immediate vicinity, I will be there for you to be a helping hand. Be like, you don't have to rush it. It's okay. You can take your time, process your feelings, and I'll be there for you when you want to face this problem again. That is how I would say I do with my mental health. My name is Takura Johnson Gapu, and I am the man.